Hi everyone. Hi. Hello, hello. Hello, hello, hi. Hello, hi, hello. Okay, tepuk tangan dan give applause for everyone here. I'm very excited and honored to be inviting here. My name is Hannah. I will be your master of ceremony on this event, ladies and gentlemen. So have a blessed and big spirit to all of you, and welcome to 2020 Aiven X E27 panel discussion and networking session. Give applause for us. All right. Okay, everyone. This is really cool because I think a lot of participants, you guys are from founders, startup founders, and partners. And yeah, we hope that through this event, you guys can meet each other and get to know to each other. All right. Okay, guys. So for now, we will have a quick ice breaking. All right. May I invite you to have a stand up, please, together with me. Come on, come on. Okay, stand up, please. All right. So I have one song, guys. I have one song. It's called Train of Love. Okay, Train of Love. So when I say chaka, you guys will move and turn right. Okay, your body will turn right. When I say chiki, turn left. Okay, we'll try ya. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. We are on the train of love. Clap your hand. We are on the train of love. We are on the train of love. We are on the train of love. When I say chaka, when I say chiki, when I say chiki, chiki, chaka, chaka, chiki, when I say chiki, when I say chiki, when I say chaka, chaka, chiki, chiki, chaka. Okay, bisa semua ya? Yang bisa kasih jempol dong. Bisa? Oke. Ini masih semangat ya. Oke? Together with me, we sing together. Train of love. 1, 2, 3. We are on the train of love. 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 When I say chaka, when I say chaka, when I say chaka, chaka, chiki, chiki, chaka, when I say chiki, when I say chiki, when I say chaka, chaka, chiki, chiki, chaka, again, when I say chiki, when I say chiki, when I say chaka, 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 chiki, when I say chiki, when I say chaka, when I say chaka, chaka, chiki, chiki, chaka. Oh, the applause for us, guys. Okay. I saw ada 3 orang nih yang kayaknya bingung ya. Kayak confusing. What is chaka? What is chiki? Oke, boleh ya aku izin. May I call the 3 of you yang tadi kayaknya masih salah dikit supaya aku aja kenalan. Boleh ya Kakak Selma ya? Boleh ya? Bapak Mark dan juga teman-teman bapak-bapak panelis dan teman-teman panitia. Boleh ke depan panggung yuk, together with me. Kita kenalan, introduce yourself. Halo kakak cantik, boleh dong kak ke panggung dulu sebentar yuk bareng aku. Nah tadi kakak bingung ya? Siap, oke. Nah, halo kakak, boleh dong. Ini sengaja nih mau minum biar ditunjuk ya sama MC ya, oke. Boleh kakak ke panggung. Yang terakhir yang tadi bingung-bingung, oke. Yang bingung-bingung lagi, kakak yang baju abu-abu silakan kakak. Ya kan supaya we know each other, so through this icebreaker, I would like to know more of you guys, oke. Di sini ada 1 orang kakak cantik dan 2 orang kakak ganteng ya, oke. Boleh dong kakak panitia ada mic 1 lagi kah supaya dibantu untuk kakak-kakak yang 3 orang yang bingung icebreaking. Oke, hai, boleh kenalan. Hello. Please introduce yourself. Namanya siapa kak?
My name is Alfi Zainuddin.
My name, sorry?
Alfi.
Alfi dari?
From Swift Solutions.
From Swift, okay. Please let us know about a brief of your company dong, or your startup please kak.
Okay, so Swift Solutions is currently serving the line Tokopedia program. And also serving Toko Now. If you have bulk from Tokopedia Now or Dilayani Tokopedia, then we are operating the warehouse. We are developing the WMS and also serving the delivery as well.
Oke, wow, please give applause for Kak Alfi tadi ya. Oke, selanjutnya halo Kak. Nama, nickname. Oke, dari apa startup company-nya atau mungkin dari mana? Dan a brief description lah about your company.
Alright.
Okay, please.
Thank you. So my name is William Samuel. I'm from Endeavor, Indonesia. So actually what we are doing is we build the startup ecosystem in Indonesia, but we have 40 branches across the world, in which we have our accelerator and incubator program that includes several startups from seed funding up to Series B funding is under our portfolio that we helps to grow and enlarge further to provide impact in Indonesia and around the world. So I think that's a brief information about us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Panggilannya dong Kak, nickname-nya apa? What is your nickname?
Panggilannya, my nickname is William. So
William.
or you can call me Will as well.
Will as well.
I
Okay.
hope we can connect tonight. Thank you.
Sure thing. Thank you Kak Will. Oke, ini yang terakhir Kakak cantik nih. Silakan Kak.
Hello, everyone.
Hai.
It's good to see everyone today. Let me introduce myself. My name is Mega Hutagalung, and I'm from Asaran. And my position in Asaran is I work as the investor relations as well as the legal staff in Asaran. And a little brief about Asaran. What is Asaran? Asaran is a startup company that based on the biotechnology, where we discover your true potential, especially for human beings to finally discover your spectrum. So basically, in brief, Asaran is a DNA testing company that focuses on you. Thank you.
Wow, thank you Kakak. Thank you so much guys. Please have a seat. Thank you. Wah, ini seru banget ya. I think yang tadi nggak ketunjuk ngerasa aduh nggak bisa kenalan gitu ya Kakak Selma ya. Tapi nggak apa-apa. No worries guys. We will have a networking session after the panel discussion as well. Alright. So thank you so much. For everyone who coming here to our very first live event, we selected invited panelists to support the tech community in Jakarta and around the region to create conversation, network, ideas, and opportunities to support each other, especially during this pandemic. All right, without further ado, I would like to give more discussion about our event. So this prestigious event has been powered by Aiven and supported by E27. Aiven manages your open source data infrastructure in the cloud, so you don't have to. It enables companies to drive business results from open source that trigger through transformation for beyond their own backyard. Aiven has offices in Helsinki, Berlin, Boston, Toronto, Singapore, and Sydney. And E27 is a company that started out as a blog to keep track of Singapore's sporting startups in 2007, has continued to evolve with time to ensure that we could continue to provide the relevant tools and resources to Asia's tech ecosystem. Wow, give applause for Aiven and E27. Wow. All right. So yeah, without further ado, to start the event, I would like to give the floor to Aiven Regional Director for Southeast Asia region, Mr. Mark Thong. Please welcome Mr. Mark. Floor is yours.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thanks, Hannah. My name is Mark Thong. I'm the Regional Director for Southeast Asia region for Aiven. It's really, really very exciting to see all of you here tonight. Thank you for your support. And tonight would not have been possible without the team from E27 and the team from Aiven to organize this event tonight. So I really like to take the opportunity to thank them for making tonight happen. So a round of applause for them, please. So when we are looking at the topic today, people are concerned about the market conditions, about the investment winter that we all talk about, right? But looking at the amount of people turning out here, the vibrancy in the Indonesian ecosystem for startups is tremendous, and I really feel very encouraged by the momentum and the investment in Indonesia itself. And we have done a recent report for Southeast Asia startup scene, We continue to see investment coming through in Southeast Asia, especially for Indonesia, even though we are seeing that layoffs are happening and also a slight slowdown. But I think that's natural in all business, that you go through a stage of getting more fit, getting to run faster, and the best will prevail. So all of you being founders, leaders in digital natives and startup, so you should really give yourself a pat on your back for where you are today. And tonight makes me feel like I'm standing in front of VCs again, pitching for funds. Right? I'm sure that you will feel very much related to that thought, but that's how I'm feeling now. So quickly about Aiven, right? We are a startup ourselves, right? We are very fortunate to be in the sweet spot of having to help digital native startup companies to scale their data infrastructure without limits. We do not exist 5 years, 6 years ago, right? That's where we are in these last 5 to 6 years. We have grown 100% year on year, and we are very lucky to close our Series D round about 3 months back for 210 million, and we are now valued at 3 billion. So thanks to all the partners and also looking at sharing the experience with you. So all the founders here, all the leaders tonight, please do take advantage of this session to have meaningful conversations, to be able to network with each of your peers in the industry, and let's drive this startup ecosystem, this digital native business in Indonesia together. So look forward to having conversations with you tonight, looking at learning something from your startup, and please be welcome and enjoy yourself tonight. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the welcoming speech, Mr. Mark Thong. All right. Okay, so continuing on the next one, we have our head of program, Open Innovation, Ms. Selma from E27. Ms. Selma, please, time is yours.
Thank you so much, Hannah, and of course, Mark, for your marvelous opening statement. I'm actually just going to be very, very brief over here. Pretty much, I just want to say thank you so much, everyone, for actually coming here tonight. I know it's a very busy week for you guys, especially for those founders who's coming in. But overall, pretty much, I just want to say that thanks to Aiven, pretty much, who have been such a marvelous partner to work with for this event. And pretty much also to all the startups in the ecosystem who have attended. We believe that we hear a lot of basically talk in our communities about the economic downturn. So we just wanted to give a little bit of support, and kind of like without any kind of collaborations, we believe that none will be able to thrive during these situations. So the whole purpose of today's gathering is to be able to celebrate actually you guys, the tech and digital communities, such as yourself, and of course, for any collaborations to also happen. Without kind of like taking too much of the time, I just also want to say that if you guys basically also would like to hear more about kind of like Aiven, please do check on their website. You guys see on the table, pretty much. They are giving 500 USD free trial credits, actually. You guys want to check that one out. And of course, if you guys are also wondering about E27, please feel free to visit us on our website. E27 as well actually are supporting founders and startups to be able to connect it with investors. So our community have about 30,000 startups on Asia Pacific and around 2,600 investors. We actually connect startup and investors in our platform. So it is also part of our support to the ecosystem. And of course, that's why if you guys are also keen to look forward to this kind of like events, we actually have an event coming up soon as well called Echelon in Singapore, where on that event, you guys can actually meet with all Asia Pacific investors in startup and corporation. And for those who haven't heard about Echelon yet, it's a flagship conference that brings together startup, investors, corporate, government, tech ecosystem players, such as yourself, to be able to connect with each other. So it happens on October 27 and 28. You guys can definitely come for sure. Please do let us know. Thank you so much, everyone, and please do enjoy.
Thank you, Selma, for the welcoming speech. All right, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, as Selma mentioned, on your desk, there is a QR code. Okay, so for a free $500 for those who are keen to get free perks from Aiven. So please feel free to scan the QR code, yeah, guys. Okay. All right. Okay, everyone. Before we are continue and start our panel discussion, we will give a chance 10 minutes for quick networking for each of you that just coming and joining. Okay, please enjoy your time. 10 minutes we will give you for the quick networking session before we start our panel discussion. Thank you so much. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, now we enter the session to share knowledge, which we will sit together in a panel discussion with the big theme of thrive in an economic downturn, increase revenue with data-driven decision. And we have our awesome speaker, VP of Engineering of Swift, Mr. Ignatius Aiven Daryanto. Give a pause for Mr. Ignatius. Okay, thank you. And we have Aiven Regional Director for Southeast Asia region, Mr. Thong. Give a pause for Mr. Thong. And last but not least, our awesome speaker, CCO of Printerous, Mr. Tanyono. Hi, Mr. Andrew. And our beautiful moderator, Ms. Selma from U27. Please, stage is yours.
Without further ado, I think pretty much I would like to introduce our awesome panelists here today. So please, Mark, introduce yourself to our audience. About who you are, what you do, and then of course, if you can, one boring fact about you.
Okay. Well, a quick one again. My name is Thong. I'm the first hire for Aiven in APAC. As you know, Aiven is a fully managed open source database as a service specialist, helping startups to scale their data infrastructure. And one boring fact about me is that I like to sleep, but I don't have enough sleep.
Same, Mark, same. And then of course, Mas Aiven.
I'm Aiven. I'm from Swift as VP of Engineering. And then one boring fact for me, actually, some people guess like I'm maybe like 35 or 40 years old. I don't know why, but like actually I under 30.
Oh. Last but not least, of course, Mas Andrew.
Right. Hi, guys. The name is Andrew. From Printerous. Boring fact about me. I stayed in the land of the long clouds, or Aotearoa in New Zealand for 12 years. So, yeah.
Wow, New Zealand. Thank you so much, our dear panelists. Dear audience, I would like to basically give this statement, and perhaps you can also think about it together with me. As we have seen in the past 2 years, right? There's we've seen it all in the news, companies that actually survive, companies that actually thrive, some actually pivoted as well. And pretty much we wanted to know, and we wanted to basically learn here today what they do differently. And of course, what basically enables them to pivot as well. So in this current business climate, we want to start this panel discussion and ask our awesome panelists here today about maybe a little bit about their startup first. So let's start with Mas Aiven. Can you tell us a little bit about your startup? I think we have heard a little bit of glimpse before, but we just wanted to know again.
Yeah, okay. So it's been 2 years since pandemic hit us globally, and then like actually that's the reason why Swift here. Previously we run the fashion business, and then like we switched to the logistic business because like there's a lot of business that switch from the offline store to the online store. That's why like we here to have to support the e-commerce ecosystem with the logistic solutions.
I think if people haven't heard, basically your PUS company is Sorabel, right, Mas?
Yep, exactly.
So some of you maybe already know who Sorabel is, but now I think it turns to Swift, and we will learn a little bit more about Swift in a few moments. Next one, I think, of course, we all have heard about Printerous before, but we wanted to hear directly from you, Mas Andrew.
Yeah.
Maybe tell us about your startup.
Sure. So it's called Printerous. I think the name explains it all. Terus means more. So it's all about you wanted to print more and more and more, right? But let me start with the why. Why did Printerous start in the first place? It was as simple as printing photos from your Instagram shouldn't be hard, right? And the why also is we want to remove the frictions on printings easily, right? So it started from that, but now we have become the one-stop place for all printing needs.
Yeah, and I think all of us here basically have printed something with printers before, including me, actually. So last but not least, maybe, Mark, tell us a little bit more about Aiven. I mean, we heard it about before, but directly from you as well. Tell us more about Aiven.
Yeah. So Aiven started about 6 years back, and it's an entirely new space that was never available before. So we are in the space of open source technology that is now changing the way that enterprise organizations are accessing their technology, right? So the old days of paying license for Microsoft, the old days of paying license to IBM are now very much in the past. So we open source what Aiven is about, right? It's enabling emerging countries like Indonesia, the SMBs as well as the mom and pop shops to be able to access the latest technology from all the digital natives and all the startups that you are here tonight, right? They are truly transforming the Indonesian market. So for us, we are enabling the startups, the digital natives, to be able to introduce new business models, to be able to introduce new services in Indonesia, for example, from the unbanked to the warongs, to the different payment from digital banks. You are now a shining star in Southeast Asia. So we are very proud to support the startups and the digital natives that we are seeing here in Indonesia today.
All right. I think Mas Mark here also have said warung, right? Oh my God, that's every Indonesian know about warung. So I think we all seen it as well that a lot of warung actually goes online right now, right? Actually with Tokopedia warung as well, right?
Yep, Toko now.
Oh yeah, right.
It's the Toko now.
So I think pretty much we all know now what the panelists' background are. So we wanted to know basically the current state of things, right? We all heard it in the news, pretty much. Economic downturn, startup wonder, and all of that. But maybe Mark here can tell us a little bit pretty much about the current state of things that are happening right now in the startup region.
So for Aiven, we are very much working with the startup ecosystem. We have commissioned a study earlier to look at how digital native startups are doing, especially in comparison to what the US counterparts are doing. Right, what we've seen from the survey is that the investments are continuing to come through, but the quality, the qualification by the VCs now are a lot more stricter. So what they're looking for are startups that are able to harness new business opportunity, new services in the market, running a lot more faster, right, to be the leader. So a good example will be Aiven with Swift. They are now involved in fast delivery as well, and it's totally changing the way that we are consuming our groceries and our food, right? So it opens up to, Printerous. They are now looking at printing, right? Pre-packaging boxes. So we are now looking at new industry, transforming the way people are consuming. So what we are looking at is while there are market conditions, while there are challenges in the market, whoever is able to now transform into new business opportunities will win the race, right? And the good news is that from the survey we have seen is that the investment continue to come through, but now it's really going to the strongest and the fittest of the startups.
And I think to follow up that one, right, because I think Mark has explained us really, really well about basically the current changing landscape of the startups. So now I'm basically asking to our two startups panelists here, right? We want to know a little bit about what's your story during the pandemic, right? We want to know basically, is there any case study, what you did basically during these situations as well?
Okay, yeah. It's something interesting because we move from the fashion business to the logistics business. It's like the big move from us. And then we can do that even maybe like only 2 or 3 months. Like we switch everything. And then that's happened because we build a platform instead of the specific use case, instead of system that handles specific use case. That's why we just need small changes on our system and we can change everything in our business. And then the results is amazing because if I look back 2 years ago, we only operate one warehouse in Cawang, West Jakarta, and we serve maybe around 2,000 orders per day. And now we operate around 15 warehouses across in Indonesia and then serve around more than 35,000 orders per day. And we serve from some of the Tokopedia products in Toko Now, and then dilayani Tokopedia, and the next we will serve the Mitra Tokopedia as well.
Oh wow, from 2,000 to 35,000 and maybe more than that, right, actually?
Yep, exactly.
Oh my God, I mean, that's a huge jump for sure. So maybe from Printerous side as well, we would like to know basically any changes actually during the pandemic on your situations?
Yeah. So I think, first of all, no one really seen this coming, right? And but then at the same time, everyone is impacted, right? For Printerous, we were doing a lot of marketing collaterals or what they call point of sale materials on printings, right? But then, of course, when the pandemic happens, that's pretty much flushed out. It's gone, right? However, what's interesting is we've seen the rise in the food delivery business, and I think it's we all probably guessed it that during the pandemic, the food delivery market has grown double digits, right? And so we moved swiftly. I'm sorry to use the name. We moved swiftly from POSM or marketing collaterals sort of printing into packaging. So yeah, that's the story.
Yeah, I think basically over here, everyone, have you guys basically also ordered something on Gojek or GrabFood? I think during the pandemic, it might be all of us. I think some of the packaging of the food might be done from Printerous actually. So we definitely can see here, right, some of the startups actually thrive during this economic downturn as well. So basically, now to the more fun question. In the light of this situation, right, what are the best considerations actually that you want to share to our startups audience here and companies, best considerations and key challenges that they might need to know, right, in order to be prepared and actually to move faster. So I'll start with Mark. Maybe you can actually start with what are the key challenges that you see from the startups?
Right. So let me see how I can do this. Okay. So coming from Aiven, what we work with is a lot of the startups in Indonesia, right? So looking at the startups that we work with, payment is always one of the biggest first thing that they need to do to be able to collect money, right? And looking at the Indonesian market now, I would say that it's a lot more evolved than even in Singapore, right? Just look at the payment methods that you have and the digital banking services that you have. So now for a startup to really start transacting e-commerce on your platform, right, you know who are the people to go to, right? So you have the Grab, you have the GoTo, and you have the Link Aja. Not that, I'm mentioning already brands, but I'm just sharing with you that payment has been now resolved for you with all the payment transfer. So the challenge for you now is that you have the essential blocks. The challenge for you is really about how fast you can now tap into an existing opportunity and being able to grow in the shortest time. Right? So because if you don't run fast, people will catch up. So an idea is just an idea. But how fast you can run is all about the difference that you can get in the market. So for example, Aiven Swift, they are in fast delivery. Right? So from 2 hours to 1 hour to 1 hour to half an hour, this is totally changing the human behavior of buying. Right? Would you want your food to be delivered to you in 30 minutes? Otherwise, you get the order free. This is totally changing the behavior that people are buying and consuming services. So what we are looking at, what we know for sure is that whoever is able to tap onto a business opportunity, test it out, run quickly with it, and if it is successful, you are able to scale up 100 times in the next month, is the key ingredients to be able to success, to bring you to success. So it's no longer about being able to dominate an area and expect to have time to grow it. Once you have an idea, everyone will come to you for the same idea and compete with you on the idea. Right? So speed, scalability, agility is what you need to think about. So when you as a CEO have a business decision to make, your IT guy will need to support you and give you the infrastructure on demand. Not to wait for 1 month, but let me send in the server, let me install the software, let me develop and wait for 6 months. That world doesn't exist anymore. Right? So that's what we are seeing, the vibrancy of the Indonesian startup scene that is so exciting for us, really trying out new business model that we have not seen elsewhere in the Southeast Asia or even in APAC region. So really excited to see all of you here and really looking for having a conversation with you after this panel to know more about what you guys are doing. So maybe...
Yeah. To follow up, maybe if I can recap a little bit, I think basically Mark just said something that I really touched my heart as well, which is speed, scalability, and agility, right? So I think to the next question, it's perfect basically I give to Mas Evan because his company name is Swift. Maybe you can tell us a little bit, any tips basically to make startup more agile, more fast, more swift?
Yeah, okay. So the answer is maybe we build platform instead of specific based solutions. That's why we run the warehouse management system with like a lot of cases there. Dilayani Tokopedia maybe for the normal cases, but like maybe if you run the operation for the toko now, how we can deliver the grocery for maybe 15 or 30 minutes, that's another challenge. And then like for the maybe Mitra Tokopedia, it's like the B2B business. Like we need to pick a very big box on the top of the racking. That's different challenge as well. And then like how we have the system that can adapt with the business process. How we build the system that can be easily configured so like we can deliver the changes faster. I think that's the key for me.
Wow, I think that's really quite insightful. So I think pretty much we all have seen basically that scalability, agility are one of the key points to scale fast, right? So actually for the next question, I think this is one of the key points and actually one of our title as well, which is about data-driven decision, because I think it holds basically closely as well with swiftness and agility. So for the next question, I think pretty much I would like to ask Mas Andrew. Mas Andrew, we have heard a little bit from Mas Evan, right? Yeah. Basically about how to make their company swift, move faster and be more agile, right? And I want to know basically from Printerous story as well, like how basically you guys are able to go fast on pivoting your business to actually deliver food packaging now. Maybe is it because you guys adopt a data-driven decision making on your company as well? Maybe you can tell us a little bit of the story.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, I mean, with data, I think things are a lot more clearer, and but there are challenges comes with it too. Change is generally scary for a lot of people, but when you mentioned that we have to move from a marketing collaterals to a packaging because of the data said so, now we have to. And if I may add an echo of what Mark and Evan said, stay lean is probably also important. This is probably against what Mark says on doing everything quickly, but staying lean, I think it's also important, and iterate and change, right? And yeah, the challenges that, if I may, the challenges of changing is, of course, the culture of the team, the mindset of the team, you know. But then again, with data, it's almost a no-brainer that you have to make this kind of decision. Yeah.
I think basically Andrew have said one other thing that we also need to consider as the founders of startup, right? Which is scaling leanly and actually being able to support your team, right? So I think following up to this, I'll go back to basically Mark a little bit, right? So I want to know basically, based on the challenges that Mas Andrew have said, any kind of tips to actually overcome those challenges of actually being able to scale fast, but at the same time, you know, keeping it lean and making able the team to follow that leanness and fastness as well.
Right. So one of the biggest challenges during a market condition downturn is, of course, to look at controlling costs. Right. So how do you manage costs? How do you manage your IT resources? How do you manage your personnel costs without sacrificing growth? Right. Because you need to be able to not just cut costs, but you need to find areas of growth that you can tap on and then now go invest and grow fast without being impacted. So you have to look at ways that you can actually be able to grow your business on demand, both on the business idea, both based on your IT stack and your IT resources and competence, right? So one way to do that is, of course, now you're looking at focusing on building your business, what you're best at, instead of focusing on the IT running your database or infrastructure, right? So just tapping on to the previous point as well is that you need to do this now to be able to identify new business ideas, right? So the study that we talk about in Southeast Asia, we're still very much building the data infrastructure and not really harnessing insights. So I was just talking about Warong. So I have been traveling to Indonesia for the last 20 years. But since COVID, this is the first time I'll go to a Warong without paying cash. When did that happen? You guys know better than that. So if you are able to now, a person like me from Singapore going in to use Gojek, Grab to pay, and you know my travel habits, what I like to spend money in Singapore and Indonesia now. So if you are able to tap on the insights for your business, what can you offer to me as a visitor from Singapore? Transport, food, entertainment, gifts, takeaway, right? The experience of being in Indonesia. So the information are already all there. So as your startup are scaling, whether you will want to now offer tour package for the weekend, I have a colleague from US, right, coming in, who is able to track that he came in and using payment methods that are now localized, and then now look at he's from US, being able to use the data to sell him a tour package. Right, so this is the new world that we are looking at, especially from a startup. You have players in the market that has the data. How do we partner them and add on to them so that you're successful? I'm sure these players in the market would love to become a third-party channel for you guys when your own startup services here. So this is about able to grow that, and then once you have done one partner, you go to the second partner, and this is how you scale very quickly without having to invest into infrastructure, without having to relearn, rebuild something that someone else has worked with, another company has worked with, so that you can scale very quickly. Right? So I would like to challenge the startup that think about how you can now leverage across each other, the ecosystem that you have, the kind of scalability from the infrastructure that you have to make sure that you can partner with all these different external entities to grow your business and to accelerate that growth very quickly, right? That will be a question that I think you should ask around and answer for your own startup.
Wow, I think basically what Mark said, kind of like the differences, right? In the last 20 years in Indonesia alone, right? I think that's, and Warung being able now to pay with QR and your GoPay card and e-wallets, right? I think that's a really significant change. And I think it will be very, very exciting to also move to the next question about emerging area to explore with, right? We believe opportunity lies beneath the crisis, right? We want to know basically interesting things and opportunities that maybe we haven't taken a look yet. So I think I'll ask to Mas Evan first here, right? Is there any exciting work that you think the startups here should tap into during the current economic downturn?
Yeah, for me, I think maybe last week, like I start to speak with my operation team and then my product team as well. And then like we explore more about the gamification, data-driven gamification. So like the gamification is how we can apply the game mechanism into non-game environment. And definitely warehouse is not a game, but like the challenge is how we can maybe like push the metrics with the gamification. And we can use the data and like maybe like we can set the target of the metric based on the data. And then like we try to put some rewards on our operation teams. So like they can work based on our target. And then like the goal actually how we can reducing the cost and then like optimize the process on the warehouses. And I think the game is interesting because like there are two reasons actually. First, it's like intermittent reinforcement. So like it's how we can give the reward from to the subject in like irregular interval. So like they will try to get more and more rewards. And then the second is the dopamine effect. It's how it's the feel-good effect from the users after get the rewards. And combining the gamification with the data is, I think that's something that's really, really interesting.
Wow, yeah. Gamification, guys. Let's underline that, gamification. I think with a lot of MZ new customer, right? The Gen Z is coming in. So I think that will, be welcome pretty much with all of them. So I think next one to Mas Andrew. What do you think from your perspective, right? What are the exciting things basically that maybe some of the founders here can consider and tap into as well?
Right. Well, what's exciting? I probably like to share about mine. But then before I start, I think this is a good time with this downturn economic that you said with the whole crisis. And you're absolutely right that there's opportunity lies within this. I mean, a lot of things happens when this 1 in 100 years event happen. And I think it's important for all of us here to pay a closer attention and really tuning in into your customers and really using the opportunity of this 1 in 100 years event to sharpening the solution or the services that you are doing. I think that's really important. Echoing with everything that Mark and Evan just said. Yeah.
Yeah, I think very much. I believe very much that statement, opportunities lies in a crisis. I think that's where basically now is the time to actually for you guys to act more swiftly and to act more agile as well. So now actually comes to the last question, unfortunately, because of the time. But I wanted to touch a little bit about the adoption for tech, right? Actually, the Harvard Business Review article about surviving recession have said that now during the economic downturn or recession, the cost of opportunity to adopt tech is actually lower. But a lot of basically tech talents are being laid off and all of that. So right now, pretty much, I would ask Mark, why investing in tech actually cut costs? Does it really? Is it a long run basically investment or a short run?
Right. If I may ask a question, first of all, how many are in Series A now in the group? Anyone in Series A? Startup? No? They're all Series B?
I think some of them might be shy.
Or seed round? So
I know some of them are in seed round, but I think they're quite shy.
Oh, okay. No worries, right? I personally feel really close to heart with you guys, right? Each of the stage, whether you're seed, Series A, Series B, is a different challenge. Whether you are looking at product market fit PMF, when you're nearer to seed and Series A, or when you are now raising for your growth fund in Series B, right? So all of these stages means that you have to go through hyper growth. With your funds in seed round, you have a certain X number of months to get to Series A. From Series A round, you have an X number of rounds to get to Series B. So the reality for you is that you need to deliver the hyper growth that you need to get to convince your next round of investors to grow with you. So how do you now do this a lot more efficient, effective in this market condition than ever before? Do you now have the luxury of hiring IT resources, hiring business, hiring experts to train up and retain and grow? Or are you really now looking for solutions that enable you to have predictable costs, able to now measure in cost per transaction so that you can grow? Right? So the challenge for you is that if you're in seed round now, you have to prove your product with a stable product. So you're looking at platforms that are stable, platforms that are compliant to data and security, that the banks will, if you're in the financial services, that the license will enable you. If you're in Series A now, you have to grow your business by 1,000 times in 12 months. How does your system and your business scale? In your Series B now, you're now looking at geographic expansion, you're looking at business line expansion. How do you now tie all your data in your back end to give you insights to run your business? So gone are the days that you have time to build with resources that you plan to hire. Now is that as a business leader, you need to be putting the onus on your technical team. I need it tomorrow. How? Right? So you need to have a system, you need to have a deployment that's aligned to your business, or being able to help you to scale, being able to help you to execute your business idea, be able to iterate the idea very quickly, being open to work with partners, right? Open source systems that can integrate easily and very low cost. So as a business leader now, you have to now ask your technical team, how do you enable that business approach? Right? So those are the ideas that I think I will leave with you. Being a startup ourselves, those are the questions we ask ourselves every day as well. Right? So something for you to chew on for tonight.
Well, I think now everyone start to think a little bit. I think now. So building on to that question, right? So maybe I want to give a little bit of example to the audience here to actually, how do actually we build, right, during this time now? If we decided to actually build, how can we do that? So maybe Thomas and Drew, right, building during a bearish market, could you give us an example on how to actually do it? Maybe based on your experience with Printerous or previously as well. Building during a bearish market.
Right. So I think I mentioned it earlier. Staying lean, iterate, and I just got this from a friend, and I'm gonna quote it here. A friend told me that staying lean and iterate changes, it's fine, but the most important thing is don't die, right? So I think that's really important. But in the experience of Printerous, you know, we obviously moving from a B2C market to a B2B market. We want to provide beyond solution. So again, the time has given us the purpose of sharpening the tools and the services that we are doing. And it's super exciting in the stuff that we're doing now. And we see this as an opportunity, actually. by looking at how the pandemic really impacting everyone with no exception. Yeah.
In that case, basically, on to Mas Evan to add on to basically what Mas Andrew said, right? Maybe from your perspective, anything to add, basically, how to build. I think because also Swift have mentioned kind of like there's swiftness on pivoting as well. So maybe can you tell us a little bit of a story about how do you do that?
Yeah, so in our business, we can get higher revenue if all of the items on the warehouse is fast moving. So let's say like all of the items should be sold in 30 days. And then like that idea makes how we can grow together with our sellers, because like sellers have same perspective with us. So like on the seller's side, like the fast moving items make the cash flow better. So that's why like we help our customers to like give the recommendation system what the best item should be sent to us. And then like maybe like, okay, item A, I think it should be 200, item B should be maybe 500. And then it should be sold in 30 days based on the historical data. And then like maybe like it's one our culture as Indonesian is gotong royong. And then it's like how we each help each other, helps our client to their growth and our growth.
Oh, I think all Indonesian here have all that in their heart and their spirits. I think because we just had our Independence Day, right, guys? The spirits of Pancasila and also the spirits of Gotong Royong. So I think we're closing off pretty soon, and I am sorry that we only have like 2 or 5 minutes left. So I would like to open up to the floor here for any of our audience. Now is the chance if you have any question to our awesome panelists here. So any question from our audience that who want to ask question to our panelists? Anybody? Basically? Oh, okay. Can you please help give mic? Yeah, Mas Satir.
Good night. My name is Jenvi Lutfiananta. I have a startup, resetku.id, and I'm a founder montres.com for the waste management in plastic. The problem in Indonesia, sir, is cloth is very expensive, right? Like sample, my team in UGM Doctoral Technology of Information, he developed software identification card (IKTP) in Timor Leste, sir, and port and yeah, so seaport, airport. Now we have the problem for cloud, sir. We have our platform. So because cloud is very expensive, the data is gone, cost in laptop. Nah, how to even to solve expensive cost cloud and business model if the running software even give revenue from the cloud? Only tentative, sir. How you can solve that problem? Thanks you.
Mark.
Thanks for the question. Let me rephrase that to make sure that I understand it. So your question was about how to optimize your costs from the cloud providers, right? So, one thing for sure, to make sure that you are in a position to find the most effective and most cost-effective offer in the market is through Aiven, because we sit on top of all the clouds, right? We do have preferred cloud for different reasons, but you can now look for any cloud that will give you the best value that you can see. Right? You're not locked in anymore. And of course, the second thing is that you are now running on open source, which means that you have no lock-in, which means that you have no license fee to pay, right? And which means that if your business is taking off, you have very clear, predictable costs that you can invest and grow to the next stage, right? So I was, just to take the advantage of this question, when I was giving you a poser, I didn't want you to go home and chew on what I've just said. The solutions about scalability, about agility, and being able to have infrastructure that supports your business, the solutions are all out there. It all boils down to which is your preferred approach, what supports your business the best. So in this case here, what Aiven enables you to do is choice, right? And you can find the best most efficient cloud provider that you have, right? And you can move between them anytime that you want, right? So that's the value that we are providing to you. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, Mas Satir.
I have my team other utama.co.id. We have platform ERP, sir. ERP. We have the market in Vietnam and Thailand. No, so I will told Kusuma. Yes, your team.
Thank you.
Yeah. Maybe we will collaboration for platform and cloud. We get a solution. Because I know some developer in Indonesia very smart. Like example, my team in ITB Institute of Technology Bandung, we will get fundraising for the fabrication battery of electric. And until we have the lab microchip, sir, in Bandung. Microchip like TMC Taiwan, you know, like Pentium.
Mas,
thank you.
Mungkin pakai bahasa Indonesia aja juga, nggak apa-apa.
Okay.
Kita.
Jadi gini, Pak. Jadi intinya gini, kita punya lab microchip sama baterai elektrik sama software di ITB Bandung, Pak. Nah, di situ mungkin bisa kolaborasi kayak gimana, ada beberapa startup juga, gitu aja, Pak.
Oh, oke. Okay.
By the way, saya dari ITB juga.
Oh, yes.
He say basically like he have microchips and batteries and working at the Institute of Technology of Bandung. And I think, Bapak, correct me if I'm wrong, yeah, but basically he's asking like how he can collaborate with you guys. So, maybe Mas Evan, because he also comes from ITB.
That's my favorite Institute of Bandung.
Oh, Mr. Mark say like he liked those that university the best. Yeah, Mas Evan, maybe can take a little bit of how to collaborate.
Yeah, I think collaboration is the key of the success, I think. That's why like even like the company like the Tokopedia, even why they acquire us is because like they need to build the warehouse solutions faster. That's why like I think this event is hopefully can answer your questions. Like we can talk a lot after this session maybe about your idea and then like how we can collaborate. Yep.
All right, thank you so much. And unfortunately we don't have a lot of time, but I just want to give one last question in case there's anyone here who have one last question to give to our awesome panelists. Now's the time, guys. All right. Well, no worries. Basically, after this is the networking session, so you guys can actually catch up and say hello to our panelists here as well. So without further ado, now that we're coming to kind of like the end of this panel discussion, I would like to give the floor to the panelists here to give a few closing statements. So if you can summarize a little bit into like one sentence, like one tips for the founders here on basically how to thrive during the economic downturn, what would you give to your audience here?
Right. So maybe I'll close it with this. Digitalization can't be stopped, right? So whether you like it or not, whether you want on board or not, it's going to happen. What we're building in Printerous is super exciting because I believe what we're building is needed yesterday, today, and in the future. As I mentioned, now that we're in the topic of data-driven, take a closer look of the data. Take a closer look of pay attention to your customer, sharpen your solution, everything that I just said, and go digital, right? Whoever jumped the bandwagon now, it's going to get a head start. That's all I can say. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mas Evan?
Yep. For me, like always use the data to set your goals. Don't only use the data to support your goal, because when you support, you only get the data to support your goal. So like you only look the good data and like hide the bad data. And then like the second is maybe how we need to grow together and collaborate together. I think it's the key on the economic downturn.
And the last word from Mark?
Yep. So what I see is execution is key. Being able to execute, being able to iterate with data insights is going to be key. So, sorry. So I think being able to learn and iterate is going to be key.
Yeah. I think Mark here needs a little bit of water. But no worries. So I think basically the key here is to iterate, to actually see the data, not only the bad one, and not only the good one, but also the bad one. And actually now is the time to actually thrive and actually use those data to speed up and be more agile. So thank you so much, everyone. So I think this is the end of our panel. Please give a round of applause to our panelists here. And without further ado, I'll give the floor back to Mahana. Thank you so much.